So this is episode 47 of Oluswole, the podcast on the budget. I'm excited to welcome my guest. She is a global traveler, social entrepreneur, problem solver. Claire, what's good?
Hi, Timi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Of course. I think I've been waiting to get on here all the years you've been doing it, so I'm excited to do it just before I leave.
Oh, really? All the years?
I mean, yeah, I think I remember you posting like your first few episodes, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is new. We were in COVID. And then I was like, yeah, gotta get on there one day, so this is my day.
Really? Rite of passage.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to leave school and be like, dang, I wasn't interested enough with this podcast. That's crazy.
Because I didn't know you freshman year. I knew you sophomore year.
I don't remember what, well, black people be black peopling, but I remember like seeing it on someone's story. Someone probably like reposted it.
Probably.
And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Get to meet people in COVID. That's a cool thing to do.
Yeah. And we got featured on the DP freshman year. So
really? See, this is what they were talking about you. Your name was in the streets, bro. We knew.
You said you've been new.
Since.
You're a senior right now.
For what, 2 more weeks?
Yeah, 2 more weeks, and then you're about to graduate and, you know, head off to the next stage of your life. Looking back at your time at Penn, and we had Jordan on episode 44.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh. Excited to watch that. Listen.
Yeah. And we asked him about, like, you know, his senior experience, like his time at Penn. I want to ask you the same thing because you're probably more in a reflective state now, right? So.
Well, okay, I'll talk about senior year first, just because senior year just happened and it's been hectic. So, okay, first part of senior year was really chill. I was abroad, so I really loved it. I was in Singapore, and, you know, I'm, someone who likes to travel, but it's very rare to be in a space for, like, so many months and really get to, like, immerse yourself in it and, like, really get to really live there. So, like, living in Singapore was awesome. Of course, I took every opportunity to leave and to travel in the nearby countries, and that was awesome. And, like, I've made new friends, like, around the world in a slightly different way, and I was talking to my friends about this last night, in a slightly different way from how I've made friends previously, because in the sense that, you know, I went to boarding school in England, I came to Penn. People here are international, right? But somehow going to study abroad, my friends somehow seem more international. Like, my group of friends was 3 people from the Netherlands, 1 girl from Colombia, but she goes to school in Spain. That was like my primary group. But even from a lot of people in the program, like, since we finished in literally December, I visited like 2 or 3 of their countries. Like, over spring break, I hung out with them. They took me around, and I'm going back for longer next year. And it's just very interesting. Like, I think it's because when you go to like study abroad, you're not actually as easily making friends with the people who go to school in Singapore, right? They have their friend groups, they have their patterns, but everybody else who's coming from a multitude of places, they're coming to make friends, and like they don't have their friend groups yet. So like you kind of meld to each other. Versus like at Penn, Americans are Americans. Like a lot of the people you meet, it's like a huge Mod Podge, but it's slightly like different in the intensity of I'm international. So that was really cool. So I really like that. Senior year coming back to Penn, the semester was not supposed to be this busy, but it was kind of busy. First half of the semester, I was taking 7 classes because a girl has to graduate. Yeah. At the same time, my nonprofit was in an accelerator here at Penn, and we're wrapping up now, but like that was also a huge thing I had to do at the same time. And then I was in a play because I'm a big theater girl, and I didn't get to do it because of COVID for a long time. And I was like, I must do this before I graduate. So first half semester was definitely a hustle. Second half was a bit more chill. Still had a few things to balance, but now it's over, and I'm grateful for everything. So it was fun.
Talking about like the study abroad experience, that's something that I'm doing a bit of that in May.
Where are you going?
Not for a semester, not like you, but I was going to Portugal for 10 days.
Wait, are you on is that the whip trip?
That's the whip trip, yeah.
I know so many people going on that. You're going to have so much fun. They're amazing people.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
A lot of people in my step class.
Oh, really? Yeah, it should be very nice. I don't think you guys are going to Faro, but I've been there, and it's so lovely. And the people in Portugal were so nice. So you're going to have fun.
Yeah. When'd you go?
I went to Faro in like 2019. It was a graduation trip from high school. I went with a couple of my old friends, and it was just really nice. We were like on the beach, like visiting dolphins and stuff for like 6 days. So it was like really cool. Yeah.
I remember I was reading in the Penn Abroad website.
My story's on there.
Yeah. I remember reading on the website that you like traveling on a budget, and this is a podcast on a budget, so I'm trying to see. trying to wonder how you go about doing that.
There's a lot of planning that goes in, a lot of foreplanning. Like literally, the grad trip that I would have been doing this semester, has been planned for like 3 years.
Wow.
And because we're supposed to go to Japan, and we're not going anymore because one of us is no longer graduating this semester, and so we're gonna wait because we're good friends. But yeah, like there's a lot of planning that goes ahead, and it's like interesting because you kind of have to balance that with wanting spontaneity. But yeah, I do a lot of like forethought. So my parents are like, okay, this is the last thing we're ever gonna buy you. Buy your ticket home to Nigeria after graduation, and then back to the US after that, right? And I was like, how do I use this to the fullest capacity? So I bought the tickets, and they were in 2 sections. One that goes like America to England, and I have some friends there, of course. So I want to spend some time there, and then goes England to Nigeria. And in between that, one has a layover in Iceland for 36 hours. So I get to do a lot of exploring there. And then the other has a layover in Egypt for 26 hours. And I get to like, pop into the country really quickly, see a little bit of the local, what's going on. And so for me, like that's a little bit of, taking every opportunity, because I'm not paying for that technically. But I get to see some country life, get to see some new things. Beyond that, there's always a spreadsheet. If I'm planning to go to a country, there will be a spreadsheet, and we'll budget it out. And then I'm kind to myself a little bit and leave a little, just in case money to do some fun things. But yeah, I like a lot of planning goes into it. And then there's always has to be a little like spontaneity budget, because there's something you can't find on the internet that you'll get there and the locals will be like, you have to do this. So you always got to be able to leave space for that.
Will one of them be like trying karage chicken?
Oh, okay. This man really, really read my website. So the karage chicken was actually, okay, no. The situation in which we found the karage chicken was one of the spontaneity things, but the karage chicken itself was not. It was one of my friend's birthdays, and C'est La Vie is this like huge club in Singapore, and everyone kind of typically tries to go, but they also have like a restaurant and like a bar, and we were like, okay, it's his birthday, he's turning 21, we were gonna like splash out and like go to C'est La Vie. It's really bougie. It's on top of MBS. Marina Bay Sands is like literally the most expensive place in Singapore and possibly one of the top 5 in the world. And we're like, okay, we're gonna go. And like I get this karage chicken and it's awesome, and then my friend is like, oh wait, this is good, I want to get it, and it's his birthday, right? And so we order it, and the lady comes back and she's like, I'm sorry, that table over there just ordered all the last karage chicken.
That's insane.
And I pause for a second and I'm like, no. And I look over and it's this group of businessmen. And I'm feeling in a very social, very bouncy mood. And I'm like, okay, fine. I walk over to the table and I'm like, guys, we heard that you just ordered all the karage chicken, and it's my friend's birthday. The birthday boy would like some karage chicken. And these guys, I was obviously joking, but these guys were so nice. Some of them were from like Ireland, some were from England. They were on a business trip, and they were like, and they gave us the chicken, and then they vibed with us for a really long time and had chatted with us. They gave us their business cards. Like they basically tried to recruit us to their companies. It was really funny, and it was a great time. So yes, the karage chicken was at the center of one of like the best nights. Like literally, MBS has one of the best views of Singapore, and it was really nice, like to be up there that day. So yes, karage lives deep in my heart that day.
Yeah. That's a core memory, it sounds.
It really is. Oh, it really is. It was a great, great night. We got dressed up, of course, and then just meeting those people who were just like so open and so cool, even though they were slightly old. They were just so nice.
Yeah. And you also went to an anime-themed cafe in Singapore. Like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. What was that? What was that
so
like?
This is definitely not like too OD. Like, I'm pretty sure that when you get to Japan, if you ever go, you will find the anime cafes that are like, the waitresses are literally dressed up as characters. All the food is shaped like the like different anime. But like this one was slightly more chill. It was called Daijobu, and it was actually in my school. Like it was in the basement of the school, and we had like multiple restaurants. But this one was like really cozy, anime themed, like posters everywhere. And the owner basically became my mom in Singapore. Like she was so lovely. I think one day I came back from like a test, and I was like looking kind of like soppy, and I was just like, that test did not go well. And she like was like, what's going on, Claire? And she talked to me, and then she was like, here, and then she gave me like a free dessert, and she was just like, that restaurant was like my home in Singapore, like in college. Whenever I needed to like de-stress, that couch, I have a thing for couches, guys, low key. Like I'm thinking about the couch I have in my apartment here in Philly, and it's a huge thing. I'm thinking about moving it all the way to Chicago because it's beautiful. But yeah, the couch was like soft and it was kind of a place that just welcomed you. So it was like really cool. But I think I'm excited to like go to a real like anime themed cafe when I go to Japan and see how extra people can be. My twin had a great, I shouldn't have said that. He's not my actual twin, guys. I just call him my twin. He had like some medical issues. So our grad trip is delayed to 2025. So, okay. Which is good because then I can be a grown person with real money and do Japan properly. Japan on a budget is not the easiest. But have you met my big Oliver? He was a senior like last year above me. He was also in DSP.
No, I don't
He's know. Like the male version of Yina. He's a big travel boy, also on a budget. He did warn me that Japan is like a hard place to do on a budget. So I'm excited to do it when I'm grown. So yeah, it'll be fun.
That corporate world money.
Oof.
Yeah.
Have to get there first. Wait, Timi, what are you doing after this?
Still keeping my options open. So like, we'll see.
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up my LinkedIn one day and be like, he has succeeded.
I appreciate it. Yeah, fingers crossed. But you were born in New Jersey and you moved to Nigeria and then you moved to the UK. Like you went there for high school.
Yeah.
And even I'm not trying to make you self-conscious, but
no. Why would it make you self-conscious? I'm a big around the world girl.
I was gonna say it was like even in your accent, like I can hear like blends of like, different places. So it's just like
don't come at me for my accent, guys. No, it's a big no. My accent is like one of those topics that if it doesn't come up with the person, I'm like, either you pay no attention or you're used to this and you don't comment, and I'm like grateful for that. But at the same time, interesting you haven't brought it up. But yeah, so like my parents just had foresight and they knew that I think they could feel that I would be a big traveler. And they knew I couldn't do that on a green passport only. So yeah, they just gave birth to me in New Jersey so I could have the passport. We never lived in the States really. So we've always lived in Nigeria. And so I grew up there, and then high school, I did go to school in England, and then I returned to the US for college. But I think my accent definitely has always been doing the slipping thing, at least from when I started school in England. Like, I think people would say it was fairly like American, Nigerian, kind of neutral while I was in Niger, because like I grew up coming to the States, going to England. I had relatives in both. But then by the time I went to school in England, I definitely got like a lot more of the British like ingrained in me. And so that comes out occasionally. It was actually so bad. I was at the product design fair the other day for one of my classes, and I'm pitching my product, and someone passes by, and I'm like, you look like you're from Europe. And he starts talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm from England. And it triggers my British accent. And then he's like, hold up, did this girl's accent just change? And I'm like, child, I promise I'm not mocking you. It was not on purpose, but it just happened. And I'm used to it. I don't really, it's never conscious really, except when I'm really trying to prove a point, which is very, very rare. So yeah, it just flips, guys. Take what you get. Yeah. It's fun sometimes.
Interesting. Like, because I grew up around a lot of British people, and people with British accents, because
why?
I went to school in the UAE for like when I was 9 to graduate high school.
Right.
And we did, GCSEs, A levels, all that. So we had like British teachers and British classmates, and like I feel like I can do an okay British accent.
Do you want to give it a spin?
On the fun? That might be too much sauce. That might be too much sauce.
Okay, one day.
I can't give away all the sauce in the podcast. But yeah, I just like, so I'm very like prone to picking up on the British accent. I'm like, oh, I hear that. But I also hear the Nigerian accent because like, I'm Nigerian.
Of course. We have to be. Yeah, born and raised somewhere. Well, it's so annoying because I actually often say that. I'm like, born and raised. And I'm like, girl, you're not born. You're definitely raised, but you are not born. So like, when you live in Nigeria, like that conk Nigerian accent will come out, especially when like, so people are always like, oh, what does your accent like actually change based on? And I think over time trying to analyze it, it's like, if we're talking about a topic related to like when he was British, like my British accent would come out, or we're talking about Nigeria, my Nigerian might do it more. But also I've realized that my Nigerian accent is also like more my aggressive accent. Like if I'm trying to fight you, and if I'm like making a very like aggressive point, like verbally, like my Nigerian accent will probably pop out more. Because like we're not that we're violent people, but we're very expressive. We don't really like, we're not trying to sugarcoat and hide a lot of the things, especially when we feel a certain way. So I feel like my accent is very Nigerian when I'm like, look, these are the facts. Like, so it'll probably come out more then. But yeah, it's okay. Let them know that I'm from everywhere. It's very important. Valuable.
Tell them. Let them know.
Let them know we're a globetrotter.
Mrs. Worldwide.
International.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like having the Nigerian accent for those kind of situations is definitely clutch. That's one thing I've thought about. I was just like, man, I wish I had that in my arsenal, because if I do a Nigerian accent, it's disingenuous because I don't naturally have a Nigerian accent. So I grew up in America.
Guys, I'm going to make him do it after the pod.
Yeah. So it's just like, I have to be intentional about it, and it doesn't come out naturally, So it's just, I wish I had that in my toolbox.
You can cut this one out, but do you speak Yoruba or any Nigerian language?
I know a little bit. I know a little Yoruba, but I'm not like...
Oh, yeah, you took classes here, didn't you?
I took one class, like last semester, just for fun.
Word.
Because I tested out my language requirement.
Valid.
I just wanted to experience it. but I want to try learning. I want to become like proficient, like properly proficient. So
legit. So I'm not starting work till next year, April. Like
oh, wow.
I don't start like my corporate job till then. And so one of the things I'm really hoping I get to do is literally spend like 3 months in like the village, quote unquote, and like immerse myself in Igbo, because I speak a little now and I understand almost everything, but like my speaking capability is like not the best. Like I think I just haven't practiced enough, and so I'm really hoping to like go somewhere where most people are just speaking Igbo, and hopefully like it will really like settle in. So hopefully we'll see if I can take that one off, but there's a lot to do in the next year, so we'll see.
Yeah. What else are you trying to do in that year?
Well, my nonprofit work is still a thing. So, especially over the next year, we have to really figure out how are we restructuring the organization, because a lot of us are becoming alumni, graduating, going on to corporate jobs, etc. And so what does Build Nigeria look like in the future so that it still serves the people it's supposed to serve? So that's definitely a big thing. A lot of like internal work with the accelerator that we did this semester. There's a lot of key takeaways that we need to really build on in the next 11 months. So I will be working full time alongside like travel and all these cute little things. I'll be working full time on Build until like about March before I start my job.
Yeah. Grind doesn't stop.
The grind, honestly, I'm like, yo, I remember looking at myself one day and I was like a sophomore. I was like, why are you doing so much? Chill. Life is so far ahead of you. But yeah, it looks like the grind. Don't be stopping. But it's worth it, and at least what I do. So
yeah,
it's cool.
And if I got this correct, like Build Nigeria, it's an NGO that serves like pre-college Nigerian students, connects them to opportunity or collegiate opportunities around the world.
Yeah, so we focus on high achieving low income students. So, and oddly enough, I was doing an interview just before I got to this. But like, yeah, the kind of students who typically can't afford to go to school even in Nigeria, like they've struggled with like paying school fees for even just secondary school and things like that. But they're highly intelligent. Like, I think something that I recognized a long time ago is that there were a lot of Nigerians that could be in my seat and do so much better than I do, because they work a lot harder. They're a lot smarter. And so it's like these people deserve just as much of an opportunity as I got for all the privilege I have behind me. So it's definitely worth serving the correct people, and with the goal of building a community of highly educated, like-minded people who ultimately want to go back and develop the country. And for us, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to live in Nigeria. A huge part of like the rise of India in the last like 20 years was diaspora and like sending back funds and their knowledge from the institutions they went to here. So we're very much focused on the same kind of building the country back up by changing the mindset. Japa culture will take a lot to end, but starting there is pretty important. So yeah.
That's an amazing initiative. I think I heard about it when probably around the time that I met you, like sophomore year or so.
Where that was literally when we were starting. Like sophomore year, I remember I think I was living in a house in Maryland with one of my old friends because like COVID was COVIDing. No, it really was. And we're like, why pay rent when we can just be here together and chill? And like I hopped on a call with one of the co-founders, and she went to my middle school. And back in middle school, we'd always be like, oh my gosh, these are the problems of Nigeria. But we also acknowledge that one thing about Nigerians is like we like to talk about our problems, but we don't like to solve them. We are never taking action. And so it was really that sophomore fall semester that we were like, what can we do? And we realized like these are the spaces that we're in, and technically we've done pretty well getting into these spaces, and so we can get other people into these spaces as well. So yeah, so it's gone where it's gone, and it's fun. I had to wake up at 6 a.m. for an interview this morning, guys. So if I look kind of shady, that's why I'm doing the good work.
Yeah, putting in those hard hours pay off. I'm sure it has paid off.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. You good?
Without a doubt. Our first cohort, we have 3 students going into school, 2 in the US, 1 in Rwanda. And yeah, because we focus like across the board, some of the best institutions in the world. We don't have to want to come to the US only. The one in Rwanda was very specifically, she wanted to focus on connecting Africa and African institutions. And so hence Rwanda, a lot of good innovation going on there right now. So she chose there. And then one of our students is going to Dartmouth starting in the fall. And he's literally like, would be happy with me saying this. Like he comes from an orphanage. Like he's an orphan and he lives in an orphanage. And so sometimes, we keep pushing at Build and we're on to the next thing. But when we really sit down and look back at like what we've achieved, it's like, whoa, we actually just changed the trajectory of someone's life. And that's really cool for us as people, but also like it just shows how much we can do from wherever we are in the corners of our world, because a lot of how we got here was, Nigerians at Penn supported us. They were part of our fundraise. They
wow.
a bunch of schools from across like America, like their various Pan-African associations or Nigerian associations were like part of the fundraising for us and a lot of the connections that we have. So it's definitely like a full process and everyone can get involved in some little way, which is why we're like, look, the diaspora, even us as college students, can do so much with what we've been given so far. So it's really cool. So yeah.
I mean, where do you see in the next 5 years?
What I see in the next 5 years? Do you mean me or Build?
Like, where do you see Build?
Okay, great. So one of the things we're also doing right now is really looking at the mission and thinking, how far do we want to go? In the sense of, what is the real issue that we want to solve? Is it just education access? Is it education infrastructure in the country itself? And that means turning from, okay, we've built this cohort of people. We're going to continue to have cohorts, have alumni who ultimately will get the influence and the knowledge to come back and reshape policy, infrastructure, all these things. Where in the process do we want to like stop, quote unquote, even though like ideally we'd just change the whole country. And so that's what we're really examining right now. And so I'll get back to you when we figure that one out, how far we want to solve the issue. But structurally, in about 5 years, we see Build having its cohort program, also having the junior prep program, so getting in with kids earlier, because a lot of these issues are just people not understanding their opportunities. Because, right, a lot of people can actually just get up and realize, okay, I'm going to apply to a school in the States, but they don't. Lots of people who are like, particularly underprivileged, don't even know I can get full scholarship to a school in America, even though I'm an international student. Some people just do not know that. And that's all we're doing for these kids, honestly. We're just paying for their entire process. They get full scholarship and they go to school. Everyone is on a full ride.
Sorry, just to interject.
Yeah.
Is that just based on their financial status, or do you guys like advocate for them?
So it's their financial status, and obviously like the service that Build provides on the other side to admissions officers is verification. So when we talked to a bunch of admission officers before we actually started our program, and there's the big thing they were like is, look, we'd love to take Nigerian students. In fact, many of these schools have quotas on the kind of like students they need to be taking. Yeah. The issue is we see applications and we can't trust any of this information. Like, we don't know that these all A's are really A's. We don't know that like this is actually their financial background, etc. And so a lot of what we do is that verification. We work one-to-one with students, their teachers, their families, to be able to provide that verification to admissions officers in the end that, look, if they have the Build stamp, they are what they say they are, and all these credentials and their status are very correct. Guys, I'm sorry to make this so like professional,
that's impressive.
but that's ultimately like the benefit we do. So ideally in 5 years, we'd have the cohort program still running, junior prep ahead of time to be like, guys, these are the possible opportunities you could have in the future, both careers in Nigeria and also potential opportunities beyond. And then an edtech platform, which would be geared towards students. So any self-starter doesn't need to go into the Build cohort and have one-on-one mentorship. They can follow along online, kind of like you do like GMAT prep in one of these paid courses, and realize, okay, this is all I need to do as a Nigerian to get to this spot in whatever school. And then similarly on the other side for admissions counselors in Nigeria and guidance counselors to be like, this is training for them so they know how to support their students. So yeah, we have lofty goals, and we'll see where the future takes us, but always be building is what we say. So
it's a nice play on words. Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you fun things now so that you feel easier for you, so you can take soft life, you can chill.
Yeah, we weren't trying to get too corporate, but like, so I was selfishly interested in hearing you talk about it because cool. I feel like it's a really cool thing. Whenever people that I know on this podcast have started like entrepreneurial related stuff or nonprofits, things of that nature, I know it sounds formal, but I always ask them about that because I'm genuinely curious.
And we love that you ask. Every talking opportunity is both promo and a chance to like honestly like iterate on like how we're thinking about things, because every time you talk about it, you have to really think about it. So it's really cool.
It's happening with Build Nigeria. Links is gonna be in the description. So y'all know what to do. But tell me about living in Nigeria, because I have a lot of Nigerian friends at Penn, and a lot of us are like me in the sense that we're born in America, or born in a certain country, and then our parents are from Nigeria, but we didn't grow up in Nigeria.
Right.
But you're one of the few people who actually did grow up in Nigeria. So what was that experience like? And as a follow-up question, how do you feel you relate to like your Nigerian friends born diaspora? I mean, you were technically born diaspora, but not really.
Yeah, like I didn't live here. It's a very different experience when you're built here, when you're like grew up here versus like, just having a passport that makes life easy. Growing up in Nigeria, I think growing up in Nigeria is it's a key thing that will draw you back, in my opinion. Because as annoying as it is that, you know, Nigeria has all these infrastructural issues, anytime someone asks me, oh, where do you want to live in the future? I'm like, honestly, sure, I'm going to work in America for a few years, maybe pad my pockets a little bit, but I want to get back to Nigeria. And it's something about, you know, growing up in the culture, the nature of the people, you know, even just the primary school experience is very different from going to elementary school here. And so it's definitely something that will keep drawing you back if you had that experience. So many people I know are like, look, I did Japa, I've left, but I want to go back. I don't like this America, it's cold, there's this, there's that. Even though there's infrastructure, I always say, give me infrastructure of England or America plus the culture of Nigeria and I'll be back home. So yeah, growing up was definitely fun. Like I got to leave a lot to like see my cousins here. So I think the main difference between like them and me is like definitely like those little habitual things, right? If the reality is, if you grew up in Nigeria, telling somebody you're an idiot is a light, playful thing. It's not necessarily an insult, but don't come. This is also a part of like the socializing we do for our students before they come here. Yeah. There are little things you cannot do here without actual consequences and without like, you know, it meaning something different. Yeah. So the culture is very different. The vibe is very different. And I think I went all the way up to secondary school. And the hustle is also different there depending on the type of secondary school you went to. I went to the type of secondary school where punishment was, okay, you're coming to school on Saturday to scrub the floors. It wasn't, what is detention? Now you're coming for corporal punishment. So like, yeah, and like, it sounds like terrible, but these are things you look back on and like, honestly, like, especially with the people that you went to school with, bond you over these very silly memories when you're an adult. Like I know so many, like with my siblings and my parents, they will talk about those times. And that's not to say like you go to high school here and you don't have like things that bond you, but it's just a very different kind of like mutual experience. It's kind of like sometimes like, okay, shout out to the frats. I don't know how you'll really validate this, but it's kind of how sometimes frats talk about like pledging, like it really binds like a class together. It's kind of like that kind of experience, and it's very fun, and it really creates like a cultural base for a lot of people, even when they find themselves in America or England later on and they never knew each other here or know each other.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And the difference or the dichotomy between, you know, culture in Nigeria versus culture in America is definitely a real thing. And I feel like as someone born diaspora, you kind of get a mix of it, because on the one hand, I think I interact with people in a more American kind of way, but my mindset is more of like a blend because I grew up with Nigerian parents,
those values, those things. Yeah,
there's certain things that I see like my American peers do who are like not Nigerian, but like my American peers do, and I'm like, I can't really do the same thing.
Feel that.
So yeah,
no, for real. No, it's always funny when you're like, sometimes what's that thing I always say, no home training.
No home training is crazy.
Nah, it's such a thing. Yeah. And it's really cool. Like, I think, because that's a thing, like, I'm a big Twitter girl. And so, obviously, half the year, Twitter is just going off on African Americans versus, like, Africans. Like, that difference. And it's true on the slide. Like, there's such a huge difference. And I think another thing is that, because I think the other day I had, like, someone from the Graduate School of Education interview me about, like, race in Wharton. Oh. And I was like, I need you to go interview other people. You can even go interview Nigerian Americans, but my perspective is very skewed because technically I grew up not having to think about blackness, right? I grew up in Nigeria. There are a few expats there, but all of us are black and we're Nigerians. Very different from growing up in the US or in the UK. And therefore, in those spaces, you're black, not only because you're not the majority, but because like there are like clear differences in people and there are different ways society brings that up. So I always think that's interesting sometimes, and how that plays a difference in like how people turn out like as a Nigerian American versus like a Nigerian, like just that little, actually huge, but that little thing of, look, you never had to think of blackness. Like I had like a freshman, she's a freshman, she's from Botswana, and she was like, yeah, this is the first time I ever had to think about race, and I've been using the whole year to like figure it out. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the reality. Like you just don't really process it in the same way when you like live in Nige.
Nige.
Oh, Naija, no, you have to call it by his name.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel like for me personally, I was a kid when I left America. Like, I was 9 years old, so like I knew I was growing up in America, but you know, like you're a kid, you're kind of protected a little bit, in a way. And I lived in Abu Dhabi, which is like very diverse. I knew I was black in my school because I was a quarter of my black graduating class, like myself. So it's just like, if we tried to start a black student group, it would have been a focus group.
Not a focus group.
And obviously, like, you're in a school for minority kids, so like everyone, kind of like what you brought up about, you know, everyone catching strays in Nigeria. It wasn't necessarily the exact same, but if you're in a school full of minority students, like from all around the world, no one was safe. So like,
yeah, I feel that. I know exactly
people,
what you mean.
Like, you're gonna be hearing some stuff. So I was definitely cognizant of my race when I was as I got older and stuff like that, and coming here, obviously, like being black in America, like it's very obvious.
But yeah, guys, let's talk about music just to ease the mood.
Yeah, let's not talk about the political and economic state of the world.
Coming from my country, talking about political and economics is stressful. Do you know that Osibanjo was on campus the other day?
The VP?
I was like, why is the vice president of Nigeria here?
I was gonna go, but I couldn't.
Same. I was actually sick that day, and I was like, gosh, yeah, actually. He used to, I don't know whether he used to be or he still is a pastor. He's lucky that his God was working for him, because God, obviously I would have gone there and slapped him with hot Q. I'd have asked him serious questions, like, so he's very lucky that I was ill that day. Gosh. But yeah, it was very random. I was like, why are you here? Because someone hit me up and was like, oh, it was a good talk. Claire, Nigeria is really in trouble. I was like, yeah, one of the agents of chaos came to tell you about the chaos in the nation. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Of course it's in trouble. Bruh. So yeah, we leave Nigeria, thoughts about Nigeria for weekdays. On weekend we think about light things.
Yeah, okay. Let's move to light things then. I mean, you want to talk about music? I mean, I feel like for me personally, I started listening to a lot of Afro beats like in 2022 during my summer internship.
What?
And then I kind of like started tapping into that scene a bit more. What's the scene like in Nigeria as someone who grows up there? Like, how does it compare?
I think it's very interesting to be able to see the progression of an artist, in the sense that, you know, most of the people, even Nigerian Americans here, they know Wizkid, Burna Boy, and even Tems, especially, let's talk about Tems, from when they blew. Versus we knew Tems when she was performing at concerts and we're looking at you like, your voice is nice, but who are you? Like, wait, I don't know who you are. You're opening for somebody else, but I don't know who you are. And so, because that was actually my experience with her one day, like before Tems became like huge, I was actually like listening to her sing Mr. Rebel on stage, opening for, I think it was Burna Boy or Davido, and I was like, your voice is really nice, so, but as usual, we don't really care that you're on stage because we're waiting for the main artist. I remember thinking about that years later when she blew, and I was like, wow, that was you. Obviously, I didn't even remember the person's name. I was like, wow, Tim, that was you that day. So it's really like cool to be on ground and really see the progression and see them come from up and like, be their OG supporters. There are obviously a lot of other artists that aren't as like internationally known, like Show Them Camp. If you want to talk about vibes in music, you know, they talk about Alte these days. Tim's like sometimes can be classified as Alte. You talk about Santi and things like that. But like Show Them Camp was one of those like original groups that really made music beautiful. Like you were in primary school singing songs that some of them you shouldn't have been singing, but you just loved the vibe and you were singing. And then it's crazy, like, how old am I? 23? Yeah, I'm not 23 yet, guys. Hold me, almost there. But like, it's just the crazy thing, like 10, 13 years later, these people are still on industry in the best way. Like they've improved even since like those days. Some of these people went to primary school with people that like are like my siblings' age. So it's like, wow, to really be in the culture, you have so many touch points with them, whether it's like people's birthday parties. Some auntie will, okay guys, I'm showing my privilege, okay, but some auntie will have birthday party and these people are there performing, and it's very different from like,
that's crazy.
No, guys, let me tell you, I went to primary school with some of the bougiest people in Nigeria. I'm not one of them, but I was surrounded by them, which is a lot of how Build Nigeria came to be, like really living on that balance between my dad is a big integrity and discipline guy. Even if you can afford it, there's no reason that as a child you should be holding to your bag. He's one of those people. Yeah. But I went to school with so many of Nigerian elites. Some people had birthday party on yacht, bro. These people were crazy.
That's crazy.
I think sometimes, guys, I look at my life and I'm like, Claire, you're living a good life. You're doing good work. But the one skill you never gain in this life is learning how to become best friends with the rich people. Because tell me how I went to St. Saviour's. I went to CLC with literally I went to school with one of the princesses of Malaysia. Why am I not friends with the people who are running the world? I think.
Was this in the UK?
Yeah, in the UK. Because it was cool though, because I was in Malaysia, because I was in Singapore, and I went over and I was like, wait, I know some of the people who run this country. Wait. And so I actually hit her up and she was in the city that day. So I got to see her. But yeah, it's like, wow. I'm going to say now, guys, at Penn, take advantage of your opportunities. I'm not saying go and be a snake and make friends with rich people. Chill. But definitely take advantage of the opportunities in your vicinity. Try to understand what's available to you here. And utilize accordingly as an honest person.
It's on the viewers to be clout chasers.
It's on the viewers to take advantage of what is feasible if it's there. Don't pursue the wrong things. Okay, don't pursue the wrong things. Let me be a good African auntie. But yeah, no, like little things like the whip trips, like all the things that look you can do on pen's dime, do it. And make connections. Even if you're not like a big connections person, like I'm not someone who likes to network. I actually hate it, which is crazy because I have to do work. I know, I hate it. Literally, I was at an event for like our accelerator last night, and I was there like, God, please, why? And I'm someone that people think is super social, even though honestly I've converted to an introvert since COVID. Like that's my new reality. But I like meeting people and getting to know them. If later on there are fruitful things that come of it, either for a business thing or for a personal thing, that's great. But I hate like the idea of networking. It really gets under my skin. I don't like to do it. If I know you and we're good because you're an awesome person, I'm an awesome person, fantastic. But I'd rather not come to you and be like, oh yes, my name is Claire, what do you do? I don't want to build relationships to get something out of it. So like that gets me like, and something I have to grow out of in the business world. But for now, I'll stick to making genuine relationships. And if they serve me, they serve me. If they're just a vibe, then we're gonna vibe. So yeah, it's a balance.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people don't actually enjoy networking. I think it's a common opinion.
Bro, but some people are good at it too. You will see them at those what's in events and they're there. And they're shaking hands, they're talking about this and that. And I'm like, bro, you're a beast of a different nation. I respect you. Yeah. I can't do your work, but I know it's not easy.
It's definitely a hustle that I had to like learn. I'm definitely still growing in that area for sure. It's just especially if you're an entrepreneur, like you gotta know people,
bro. One of the main reasons I cannot go into like venture capitalism right now is like, bro, I learned like obviously you kind of forget sometimes that even the venture capitalists have to go ask for money for them to put in their fund, and I'm like, bro, it's not easy. I can't do this. Please, I respect your work. I'll watch from the sidelines. Yeah. I want to be an angel investor when I'm old and grown.
Just drop some money, say go.
Dude, my life strategy is I don't even want to be smart. I don't need to be smart. I don't need to work hard. I just need to know very smart people. And I will invest in you. I will invest in your companies, whatever. How I get that money, God knows. But I will invest in you and go off and make multitudes. DSP, shout out to y'all because y'all are my future bank accounts.
Frat coming in clutch.
Yo, y'all do what you need to do. I know you guys are highly intellectual. I have confidence in you. Yeah, no, I remember, I remember being like 16 and I told my friends, guys, all this, because I think I'm really like, I think I'm a good friend, guys. I think I'm a very supportive friend. I put a lot of work and effort into my people. I will die for you. I remember being like 16 and I was telling my friends, guys, all this love I'm giving you, all this support, all I want in the future, just give me 0.01% of what you're earning. That's 0.01. I know that it will be multitude. I know it will be much. It's enough. I know it will be a lot because you're going to grow and be successful. I have faith. So yeah, no, I've always had that mindset of, look, y'all go do your thing. I know you'll be great. I will support from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like sowing
my seeds. Yeah. You invest in a person in non-financial means, they will grow. Don't worry, when it's time to take you to private jets in one island, they'll call you.
Claire, ROI, Utomi. So.
Yo, ROI and the investment is love and kindness. This is why you can't be snakes, guys. be honest.
That's funny. So moving away from that, we have the Oluswole Bowl, and it's a part of the podcast where you ask you some off-the-cuff questions. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. So the first question is, what's the worst fashion trend you followed?
Oh. Wow, oh gosh. There is this picture that might haunt me on Facebook if I have not done I've tried to erase it so many times and I hope I've done my job.
Digital footprint.
Evidence never dies. But it's literally like I was wearing this like high block heel and I'm like 13 or 15, bro, like somewhere in that age gap. This high block heel with purple shorts and a bright blue crop top and a bow in my hair. That picture haunts me. It's kind of like dressing like Zendaya from what's that show? Shake It Up. It looks like that. And I'm like, wow, there was really a time. So that's probably one of the things that like creeps in the corner of the internet that haunts me low key.
That's funny.
Gosh. What about you? Reveal your secrets to me.
Me?
Reveal your secrets.
Nah, I got the drip. You see, I got the jeans jacket on. I got the white tee. I got the white.
The young shall grow. There must have been a time when.
Oh, me? I'd probably say, there's definitely, I don't know. I feel like I used to wear like long shorts I feel like my shorts were just kind of.
As a basketball short type of vibe.
Yeah, like basketball shorts, but like early 2000s kind of basketball shorts. Like
Word.
The baggy ones that were long. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and then I realized like, oh, I actually had to have some drip, so I had to evolve.
Drip is not easy, but drip is forever. True.
Second of all, if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why?
Okay, I was gonna say plantain, and then you asked me why, and I'm like, can I validate this? I love plantain. Like, there was a point my mother would be like, I know if I leave you in a house for a week with just plantain, you'll be okay. Like, it was valid because plantain is low-key versatile. Forget just eating it with rice, guys. Make some egg sauce, eat it, boil it, roast it. Plantain has different methods. Oh my gosh, guys, I want to experiment with this in the next few weeks, but I want to make plantain like pie.
Interesting.
Like meat pie, but the outside is made out of plantain.
Interesting.
I've been seeing so many things on Instagram and Twitter about like plantain turning into this. There's plantain lasagna, and I've had it, and it's fantastic.
For real?
Oh, you cannot see my face, people. It is fantastic. I think I had it in Miami earlier this year as well. Beautiful. Go to Puerto Rico and they will show you that things can be done with plantain that you never knew.
Huh.
I've had a plantain boat. Like they open it up, they put beans in it. It's just a thing. Plantain is a versatile girl and we love her.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I started cooking, I think summer last year, like properly, because I was living by myself. And, I was cooking plantains, even in my apartment. Like if there are plantains there, they're mine. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I like plantains too. But
can't wait to go home. Dude, Christmas time, my father knows. He goes to like, I think it's like near Benin, Edo. He will buy a bunch of plantain. And when I say a bunch, guys, I don't mean the little bunch that has maybe 10 on it. I mean the stock that has like 10 of those bunches of 10 on there, because they know I'm home for Christmas. And that's when it's time to eat plantain.
Wow.
I don't think there's a single day we don't fry plantain in the house.
That's funny.
So yeah, plantain is my best friend.
I feel like out here you can't get plantains in bunches. You just get the individual ones.
Yeah, but they take it off the bunch, basically to sell it to us in smaller pieces. But yeah. It's hard. My first thought is when I moved to Chicago, I have to figure out where I'm buying my plantain and stuff. Yeah.
You be chefing it up though. I saw you make meat pie. I haven't been offered some grub, but
you have to come to my house and grill. I'm actually thinking of doing a cute little Nigerian thing after graduation though, so you have to be around. But yeah, because like Joeezy is there. Get him on the grill. Have him make some suya. Get him on the grill. Come on, my man be chefing. So yeah, get the people together one last time before I leave.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I gotta try. Yeah, because he cooks for real. So
Joel be cooking. It was Joel guy that was last. I think it was last year, just about this time last year, before I went to abroad and stuff. Like we had like a lot of like the Nigerian seniors in my house and people who are now I guess alumni a year above us. And Joel was leading the charge. We made meat pie. We made ayamase. Like it was a day where we made like variety. And I was like, I just called Joel and I was like, you need to come because it'll be me. You have to lead this. So it was great.
That's so tough. I highly respect people who can make people our age who can make Nigerian meals at a high level. That's crazy.
Still a lot of work I need to learn, but hopefully I'll do that in the next 11 months while I'm home. That I'll come back and I'll make everything. I say that I'm going to find a Nigerian kid trying in Chicago and I'll be ordering food. My friend does that. I was literally in New York like 2 weekends ago, and my friend was like, "Oh, it sounds like you have a cold. Let me order you pepper soup." That's what I'm going to be doing in Chicago. I need to find my place, and he ordered that pepper soup, and it was good. So that's what I need.
That's funny. Yeah, pepper soup goes crazy. Obviously,
so hard.
Yeah. And lastly, would you rather have a rewind button for your life or a pause button?
Rewind, like do it again, or rewind, like view it.
Rewind as in, like do it again.
Rewind. I don't see a value of the pause unless you mean like living in that moment and soaking it in. Like I don't see why I'd want to pause life, but there are a lot of things, especially I think about memory a lot because I'm someone who has bad memory, and so I think about like iconic moments that I can remember the essence of it and I can remember the blurry like vibe of what that moment was, but I know it meant a lot and I know it was like a fantastic time, but I wish I could like see it again, live it again. So I definitely rewind. There are a lot of moments like when I travel, like I record a lot, because like my Snapchat story is
record as in like videos and
like video, like because my Snapchat story is like a live blog almost, so that my parents can find me if I go missing. My friends will know that in the last 24 hours this is exactly where she has been, but also of course like to remember a lot of things, and I'm very happy when my Snapchat memory comes up. But there are moments that that feel illegal to record, and often that I will not record because it's like this is such a moment and it's important to bask in it. And so those moments, of course, there's no like living physical digital memory of it, and so you have to try and remember them, but they're so beautiful. So like I'd love to go back to those and really like see it all over again.
For sure. It's a really wholesome response. I would also choose Rewind for the same reasons. Like, I feel like I'd like to. Actually, in ideal world, I like to just like keep things pushing and like move forward. But between those two options, Rewind would be better, just because it's just nice to be able to like reminisce and like go back in time and like relive certain moments.
And guys, because it didn't come up in conversation, I like Burna Boy, and just to fit in with where we're at now, you know, he has this line that's like, even not me about to sing, guys. Thank God I stopped myself.
You gotta sing.
No, I'm gonna tell you all the lines. I almost started singing. That's crazy.
Nah.
Even all of my bad luck, even all the times I broke the law, he would just do it again. Like he wouldn't change anything, and I wouldn't change anything, not even all of my bad luck, and even all the times I broke the law. That's all you will get from me, guys. But that's the line, and it's the exact same essence. Like, you know, the life you've lived has led you where you are, and it's, you know, it's yours. So it's great to see it again, and I wouldn't change anything.
For sure. Burna Boy, he's definitely the Afrobeats artist I've listened to the most. He came to Made. I don't know if you were there.
Oh, really? No, I wasn't. That's cool.
Yeah, that was my first time seeing him. I was like, yo.
What did you think of our African giants?
He was dope. Like he was great. Yeah, he had one of the, he wasn't the headliner, but he was one of the bigger names. And his set was great. Had a live band. His voice sounded great live.
I think that's one thing. Like, it really irks me when like I go to a concert and I would not even be in that situation. Like, I choose my concerts very carefully, and somebody is lip syncing to me, or even worse, they are shouting at the audience, and the audience is maybe singing back to them. Uncle, perform now. That's what I came here for. And I've been to, I think, 3 Burna Boy concerts, and he has never disappointed. He's definitely a performer. Shout out to Ashake, because I went to his as well, and he's also a performer. I love, you know, put on a show for me, guys. Show me why I'm here. And yeah, Burna Boy's mic is always on. So I appreciate that.
What are your favorite albums or favorite songs, actually?
Okay, I like 23. You guys may not know that. You like?
Yeah.
I like 23. Claudia Mental. I think honestly, part of the reason I loved Burna Boy, like, coming in, I'm a big fan of Fela. And, you know, a lot of Fela inspires Burna Boy. And like, I like music that has substance to it. Like, Shekbe is nice, but I like your song to have meaning, which is particularly why I like Unfortunate Circumstances, but I like Davido's newest album. There's a lot of soul behind it. There's a lot of real meaning behind it. And so for Burna Boy, like, a lot of his songs are talking about real issues, real problems, and real things. And so I love a lot of his songs, particularly for that. So yeah, there's I could list too many, but yeah, I'm a big Burna Boy girl. Catch me in the streets, guys, or catch me at any Nigerian Burna Boy concerts. Likeliness that I'm there is very high. Like, I'm usually literally the front row. There was this one Christmas, it was terrible. I got home and my sister sent me recordings of her friends who were at the concert recording the mega screen, and it was me screaming and shouting and dancing in the front row of this concert like 3 times. Like, I'm that girl.
Are you a fan?
I'm a fan, but please, let's separate the artist from the arts, because sometimes probably problematic as hell. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you mentioned African Giant briefly, and I was like, I like that album a lot. Collateral Damage is really good. Waiting Man Go Do, like, that's a good song.
Waiting Man Do is definitely one of my faves. And I think if you guys listen to any music that Burna Boy collabs with Sauti Soul, fantastic. Always a good collaboration. Sauti Soul in general, you should look them up. They're also pretty dang good. I love them. And since I'm here, I've already said show them camp. Guys, go and listen to the music. You will feel very nice. So yeah.
Yeah. It's Plenty obviously goes crazy. It's Plenty. Last is great, but like, everyone knows Last. So it's just
Bruh. I remember I got to my office this summer and I was working with this dude, and he was like, because I really liked, my brain's about to twitch. I hope it's Plenty. No, the one that's like, it's never enough.
Is that a lyric or like the song?
Yeah. If I do 99 good deeds, go reveal.
It's Plenty, yeah.
Good, fantastic. Yeah. It's Plenty. And he was arguing with me like, why are you liking this song? It's so sad. It's so like not, you know, a balance and a vibe. And I'm just like, my guy, there's content in this music. There's content in this song. It's very, 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 very good. So yeah, I really like that. Everybody else can go and dance to Last. I also like Whiskey just for the vibe.
Yeah. Whiskey is fire. His last album was pretty good. So.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I saw him perform it in Chi-Town, so it was really great.
I was gonna go, but I was like, I saw the tickets and I was like, I like Wizkid, but I don't like him enough to the point where it's like I'd splash that much on a ticket.
No, that's very solid, especially like in America. When I have to think of concert tickets in dollars, I sit down. Give me naira. It's okay. As bad as the economy is, at least I know where my concert costs in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the one connection I did well in life. My friend's dad runs the concert, so I just get to sit at their table for free. That's the one connection.
Wow.
That's who I'm going on my grad trip with. Some of my oldest, actually, yeah, a lot of my friends are old. Like, I have very few new friends. A lot of my like team is like decades. I think we've been friends for, how old am I? 23. Why do I keep thinking I'm 23? Burna Boy song is in my head, guys.
You want to play it so bad on your birthday?
I think we've been friends for like 18 years now.
Wow.
Like, throw us back. So yeah, build real friendships, guys, and they'll take you to free concerts.
That's the motto for today. Thank you so much for coming on. This was great.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. Nice start to my day.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Oluswole's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We're also on TikTok. Thank you guys for listening. Build Nigeria, link is in the bio. So tap in with that. And I'll see you guys. Peace.